do you, I mean, so it would be quite fresh in your mind because you're working with that text so often. Is there a favorite quote or one that you tend to keep remembering?
Sure. I'll tell you the one that I love because it's sort of, spiritual in the sense that we use the word. And this is the story that my father told a lot, and he told it at the end of his life. And this was also the one because people came all the time. I wonder if you know, sorry, I'll just go off on a little digression. I wonder if you know how all of this happened. So basically, what happened is my father was not well and we weren't sure what was wrong, and then he got this diagnosis of ALS, and the doctor gave him an exact uh you know prediction of how long he would live, 12 to 16 months. And the guy was exactly accurate, by the way. That's how long he
Mm,
lived, 14 months after
mm,
that diagnosis. So as soon as he heard that, he started talking about what it was like to be dying, and he started um, making groups of people. And that's how our city newspaper, the Boston Globe, heard about him and interviewed him. And that interview came before the producers of Nightline, Ted Koppel's show, because one of the guys was from Boston and still subscribed to the Boston Globe. So that's how it all happened. And relating to your question, um, so my father would, gather groups of people and either talk to them in groups or individually, and they'd always ask him like, "Aren't you afraid of dying?" And then he would tell this story, and the story may be familiar to you. So there's two little waves bouncing along on the ocean, and they're super happy. They're having a great time bouncing along on the ocean. Then one wave realizes you're going to hit the shore and you're going to crash and you're going to be nothing. And he gets terrified, he or she gets terrified. And the other wave still super happy and bouncing on, said, "What's wrong?" And the first wave says, "You don't understand. We're going to hit the shore and we're going to be completely obliterated. We're going to be nothing." And the second wave says, "No, you don't understand. You're not a wave. You're part of the ocean." So that was my dad's favorite story.
oh, that's beautiful.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. Um, what were, okay, there, I guess there are little things in life and there are big things in life. What were the little things in life that your dad encouraged others to recognize and value? Um, what are your own favorite sort of the little things in life that we,
It's an interesting question talking about the little things. I mean, I think we've touched on it. I mean, essentially, my father's whole life was built around, what does it mean to be human and what does it mean to make a connection with another human being? But I wouldn't call that a little thing. So I'm trying to think of how to answer your question. I mean, I think in that context, my father was really concerned with people, expressing themselves and living their lives and not necessarily being focused on work all the time. Not that he thought there was anything wrong with working. I mean, of course, it's an
mm,
essential part of life, but I guess it would be to use the time that you have, effectively and in ways that you find some value in, not just waste your time. I think
yeah,
that's the best way that I can answer that question.
yeah. Rob, we know that your dad loved dancing and there was a certain freedom with dancing. What did you think of his dancing? Do you have stories of that as you were growing up?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's one particular experience, and it's also mentioned in the book, I believe. So throughout my childhood, my father attended a free-form sort of dance party in Cambridge, which is actually it was right next to Harvard University, actually, right where University is, called Dance Free. It existed for a long time, but I think it must be gone now. And Dance Free was basically where people went to dance in a very free form, contemporary, disco or whatever you want to call it style, club style, not in any kind of, formal way. But it wasn't like a bar, it wasn't a club, nobody was smoking in there, there was no alcohol being consumed. It was just music was being played and people were dancing. And I went with my father quite a number of times to Dance Free. So we danced together, and this story is told by Mitch in the book. It's also in the movie. I'm not sure if your audience knows, but there is a movie that was made for television, produced by Oprah Winfrey, and that story is told in the movie, and it is true to a certain extent. People were like, who is this crazy old guy dancing wildly? But since he went for such a long period and it was kind of a community, actually most people did know who he was and did know, that he was actually a well-known professor at this university, blah blah blah. But yeah, it was wonderful to go and dance with him in this very, free and kind of rock and roll style. And it's a endearing memory and enduring memory of my
Hmm.
childhood for sure.
Hmm. No inhibitions, just
None whatsoever. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
that's brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
great.